Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Welcome into First Pitch for October 4th. It's Tuesday. I'm Drew Martin, joined by Dave Koken and Brian Leonard. We got 3 games on the slate. We got best bets at the end. We're going to be talking the Braves and the Marlins, the Rays and the Red Sox, and the Diamondbacks and the Brewers as we're getting down to the end of the regular season, guys. Dave and Brian on the show here. Check out Dave Koken, of course, at WagerTalk.com. He's got his NHL season win total prop up, a 5%er there. He's been good in the NHL, also in football and in baseball. So, Dave, I'll throw it over to you. What else you got going on, man? You excited for MLB playoffs?
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, the playoffs are great. A couple of things to mention. There are, I don't know what the exact number is, but there are thousands of entries in the circa millions football contest in the NFL. There are two contestants at 18 wins, 1 loss, and 1 push. This is out of the thousands that are entered. They're both here at WagerTalk.com. Carmine Bianco, Adam Trigger. This roster at WagerTalk across the board is the best in the business. Others may claim it, but we've got the numbers to back it up. And what those two guys are doing in the NFL is amazing. The National Hockey League starts on Friday. I'm number 3 all time at WagerTalk in profits, which I'm pleased with. Brian Leonard is number 1 over the past 5 years in NHL profits. College basketball is right around the corner. We've got some great cappers in the NBA and college hoops. This is where you want to be on a daily basis, not only for the selections you buy, but also for free analysis. Lots of free information, and it's the best in the business. That's all I've got to say.
Nicely put, Dave. Brian, that's a tough follow, man, but we got MLB playoffs. You got a lot going on. Number 1 in profits, like Dave talked about on the ice. How are you feeling today, Brian?
I'm feeling good, and I appreciate Dave's kind gesture. Yeah, hockey. Can't wait for hockey. Been to a preseason game already here in Vegas. Getting an eye on all the teams I can, and really looking forward to the hockey season. College basketball right after Dave and I, I'm sure, are chomping at the bit in college basketball. So a lot of good winners to come, and let's get some winners for people today.
Let's get after it, guys. Heading to South Florida here. We got the Braves and the Marlins. Odorizzi versus Garrett, the lefty, going for the fish. Low total here, Dave. We're seeing, about a 7.5, minus 155 to minus 160 favorites. That is the NL East champion Atlanta Braves, possibly. What are you thinking here, Braves and Marlins?
Yeah, possibly, because they still need a win. Otherwise, there's a potential that the work they did over the weekend against the Mets won't benefit them at all. You want to win the division and get that bye. So this is a big game for the Braves, and it's priced that way. Jake Odorizzi, not a guy I'm enthused about laying 155 with. I don't want to go against the Braves here, but the Marlins have a very talented young southpaw on the mound. Wait, that pitching, I got to tell you something. If the Marlins, be interested to see what they do in the offseason, because if they can add a couple of bats, they're going to be a good team. Their pitching staff is sensational. And it's not a staff I want to lay a big price against. It's an obvious spot for the Braves, but they're overpriced here. And I wouldn't lay it. In fact, I'd probably lean to the Miami side, first 5, because I think they've got an edge on the mound.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, just because you need to win doesn't always mean you do win here. Right. Brian, what are your thoughts in the fish tank?
Yeah, if you've watched or seen any of the scores this last week, there's no way I could be laying big numbers with these favorites. We've seen it with the Mets. They've burned everybody over the last week. Yesterday, the Dodgers lose to Colorado. I mean, the last couple of weeks of the season, if you are a guy who likes to watch younger players, knows about the up-and-coming players, guys like Dave and I always seem to have a lot of success because we're able to bet against teams that have been really good all year, but they're resting a lot of their players. They're moving their starting pitchers around. Yesterday, I'm not a guy who plays a lot of props. There's no way in hell I'd be betting starting pitchers over on teams that are on strikeouts on teams that'll be going to the playoffs this weekend. So it's a situation for me where there's plenty of money out there, and one of them is, I believe, this Marlins team in this game. I really like young teams who will bring up a lot of young players at the end of the season, and they get a chance to play. Well, Dave talked about the Marlins offense. They're terrible offensively. We talked about it all season long. But you got a lot of guys who get a chance to play at the end of the season, and they continue to want to play. The Braves, it looked like to me, now there was rumors out that the Mets were probably better off not winning the division based on who they were going to have to play in the playoffs. I don't know if they entered their heads or not, but the Braves are a good team, but this line is too high. This is going to be my best bet on the show today. I want no part of Odorizzi, as Dave pointed out. In August, he's gone 16 innings. He's given up 14 earned runs. He's got a 2.00 whip and a 7.88 ERA. And he's gone into the fourth inning every start. So it's not like they're just going to put him out there, and when he gets in trouble, he'll fail early and they can bring somebody else in. They've been letting him pitch 4 or 5 innings every time out, and he hasn't done well in it. Garrett's the guy. Dave talked about the Miami pitching staff. I love this Garrett guy. I think we send him down to the minors just for a week or so in order to limit his innings, because he's going to be a big part of this starting rotation next year. And keep in mind, Sixto Sanchez. Yeah. Not too many Sixtos in Major League Baseball, so they're easy to remember. He's been hurt the last year and a half, and he was their number one priority in the pitching department. So if he gets healthy, he comes back, that gives him another one. Meyer came up this year, and he looked really good his first start. Then he gets hurt. This team is loaded in the pitching department. But getting back to this game, I like Miami. I think the price is right here. I'll go against any team that is being priced that they have to win. Give me the Marlins tonight.
Great breakdowns here, guys, to start. And, Brian, to your point, you're talking here about the Marlins pitching. I've come up with this philosophy. You just touched on it, Dave. What would Pablo Lopez get in the open market? I'm talking for offense for the Marlins, because they have all of these guys. I mean, the NL Cy Young guys, Sandy Alcantara, Pablo Lopez, this guy Braxton Garrett, a former first rounder, Sixto Sanchez. You bring up Meyer as well. They have enough starting pitching. And look where they are in the standings, Dave, 68 and 92. You need to be able to score runs. I mean, you kind of mentioned it there. Do you think that's something they should actually deal one or two of these guys and get some offense?
And it's Miami. It's not a small market. Okay? Spend some money. There's some great bets out there this year. I mean, I don't know, Xander Bogaerts or whoever. Go after these guys. You only need a couple of guys. Spend the money. They're contenders. I mean, their pitching staff could arguably be the best in baseball as far as the starters go going into next season. It's loaded. We didn't even mention Trevor Rogers, who had a horrible season, was an all-star last year. No reason he can't bounce back. I mean, they're a team I've got my eye on already as an over wins prop next year if they go out in that offense. Now, they might not do it because they're the Marlins and they like to cry that, small market bullshit. But they're in position to make a real run next year.
Well, they actually went out this year and picked up a couple free agent guys. Unfortunately, they've been hurt. So that's been the problem. So they have the ability, and they want to get better. They don't bring in a lot of fans down there, as you would know, Drew, but it's a situation where, if you have an abundance of one pitching, you've got to trade it for some hitting, especially the way they're able to develop pitchers down there. I mean, they brought in the guy from Oakland, who was having problems, and now he's had a great season. So this is a team that can develop pitchers. So I'm not worried about pitching with Miami.
Yeah, and bring in a manager who doesn't sacrifice bunt. By the way, I just want to point this out. The defending world champions, and they might be the champs again, the Atlanta Braves, you know how many sacrifice bunts they have this season? 0. They have never sacrificed bunted the entire season. It's a stupid strategy, and to me, any manager who still utilizes it should be fired on the spot.
At Dave Koken on Twitter. Check him out. WagerTalk.com. No, it's a great point.
There was a reason to use it when batting a pitcher in the National League. You don't want to just have a guy stand there so you can get a productive out. Outside of that, it should never be used. Never. Okay? It is a losing proposition. The math is clear on it. You don't give away outs. And Mattingly's a guy who still has subscribed to that theory. Let's move the runner along and give away an out. It's a bad strategy. And if he ends up managing the White Sox, which I think he might,
as a Guardians fan, I hope you're right.
Well, I think he's going to manage someplace. It's not going to be Miami because tomorrow's his last game.
Yeah.
And the White Sox need a manager, and they have a tendency to pick the wrong guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mattingly ends up in Chicago.
Yeah, there's a lot of Marlins fans that are definitely okay with him leaving town. So we'll see what happens with him going forward. Maybe looking to fade that team. And maybe the Fish can get some bats for next year because we're already looking ahead towards next year. And it's kind of been the case in South Florida for quite some time, Dave.
Isn't that interesting, though? And that's, to me, an amazing stat. The Atlanta Braves, arguably the best organization in baseball, have not sacrificed bunted once the entire season.
Well, when you score 5 runs a game compared to 2, it's a little bit different, but I fully understand what you're saying.
Good conversation here, guys. Come back and join us. First pitch all through the MLB playoffs. We'll even at some point talk about next year's rules changes. I'm sure that will stifle the fire for Dave and Brian as well, as we'll get some opinion there all throughout MLB playoffs right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Next game up, guys, AL East battle here, 7:10 Eastern first pitch. Tampa Bay Rays, Boston Red Sox. Brian, coming to you first. We get Springs, the lefty, going for the Rays. Talk about young guys with a lot of upside. He's one of those. -115 here. Short favorites on the road. Eovaldi going for the Sox. 7.5 the total. You liking anything in Fenway tonight, Brian?
Yeah, Jeffrey Springs has been a guy who's been under the radar for a lot this season. So he's put up some excellent numbers. Strikeout rate 26.3, walk rate only 5.6. He's a guy that if you've been betting on Springs, you're making some money. Eovaldi is going to be a free agent at the end of the season. And unfortunately for him, he's been hurt a lot this year. He's tried to stick it out, and they've kept him in the games, and it's hurt his overall stats. In fact, if you take a look at the StatCast numbers, the only good StatCast number he has is walks at 4.1%. Exit velocity's high, heart rate's high, slugging's high. He is a better pitcher than what he's shown this year. I think it's very important for him to come out this last game and pitch well. When you're going to be a free agent and you've been hurt all season long, you want to get some good innings behind you before you hit the market. So we'll see what happens. But do I want to back him in that situation? I haven't seen enough out of him. His barrel rate for a full-time starter, when he is healthy, is pretty outrageous. 10.8% barrel rate compared to Springs' 6.1. People are hitting Eovaldi this year, and they're hitting him hard. As much as he wants to come out and pitch well tonight, I haven't seen enough to back him. Love Springs, this Tampa Bay offense. I love the coaching for Tampa Bay. Unfortunately, it looks like my Guardians are going to be playing the Rays in the first round of the playoffs, which is not what I wanted. I wanted Seattle. That way I could root for either the long-standing Mariners disappointed fans or my long-standing Cleveland fans in the playoffs. But I prefer the Tampa Bay side here. It's not going to be a play for me, but I'm leaning to that direction.
Okay. And Dave, what are you thinking tonight in Fenway?
Nothing. The Rays they just want to get through these 2 games when their best player is healthy for the weekend. And so I don't want them, and I don't want the Red Sox who stop giving a shit about the 2022 season sometime in July.
Yeah, the AL East standings, pretty big drop off until we get to Boston, just 76 and 84 here. Not one of the better seasons for Red Sox fans. We got last game up here, guys, before best bets. Arizona Diamondbacks, Milwaukee Brewers. We get Gallen versus Lauer. Dave, coming to you first. We get the Diamondbacks minus 115 favorites, total of 7, low total here. And of course, the Brewers, I believe they're just eliminated here from the playoffs.
Yep.
Might be a fade opportunity. What are you thinking here, D-backs and Brewers?
Zach Gallen has arguably been the best pitcher in baseball in the second half of the season. I think he'd like to finish strong. The Brewers' season is over. I don't know how mentally sharp they can be tonight. Diamondbacks bullpen's a train wreck, but I want Arizona here. They're part of my best bet. They're a component. My best bet is a two-team parlay. The Diamondbacks will be part one of that. Give me Zach Gallen to close things out strong.
Yeah, I had that play circled as well, Brian, just kind of looking to fade the Brewers like Dave talked about. Are their heads really in it? What are your thoughts here in Milwaukee tonight?
I think the line tells you what the right side is in this game, and that's Arizona. We talked about Zach Gallen possibly winning the Cy Young, but Alcantara, his bounce back his last few starts, so he's got that locked up. But Eric Lauer is a guy, he's been mediocre for most of the season, but he did get on that stretch where he was striking people out like crazy. He had a 5-8 game stretch where it really made his season. But other than that, he has struggled coming back. He was put on the IL a few weeks ago, came back, has not looked good in that regard. So Lauer's just finishing out the season. Arizona's out there, a young team trying to win. They even sent one of their better prospects in Thomas. They sent him back to the minors. Well, that's not something the team does if they're just trying to clear out the season and get the season over with. They're sending him back there where he can get the instruction. They brought somebody else up. This is a team continues to go out there and tries to win. I like Arizona in this matchup.
Brian Leonard, Dave Koken, heard from them both here. 3 games in the books. We got best bets coming up. Huge shout out to the chat box. Everybody joining us live. Sweet James Jones, RJ, Johnny Outlaw, Paco Healy, San Diego's finest, saying happy Taco Tuesday. Going to be a great Taco Tuesday. Might eat 10 of them and guzzle beer all day. Paco, you deserve it. Thanks for joining us live. Guys, smash that like button. Jessica as well. Welcome in. Martel. Thanks to everybody watching live. Feel free to comment below, guys, what you're looking to bet tonight, where you agree, where you disagree. All is welcome right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel in the reply section. Going around the horn here for best bets. Lead it off here with Dave Koken. Final thoughts for the show as well. Check out his 5% NHL season win total prop up and available. He's got his best bet coming in. Good start to the football season as well for Dave. Dave, what else you got going on, and what do you got for best bets?
Well, I think you covered most of it. I think the best bet on the board tonight is the Astros, because the worst bet on the board is the Phillies. They clinched last night, and the Phillies, unless they're really stupid, need to lose these last 2 games. If they lose the last 2 games, they play St. Louis. If they catch, and they have the tiebreakers against the Padres, so if they catch the Padres, then they have to play either the Braves or the Mets. Well, if you're the Phillies, no offense to the Cardinals. They're a good team. But who do you want to face? Do you want to face the Cardinals? Or do you want to play against the Braves or Mets? It's an easy answer. You want to play the Cardinals. You got a better chance, especially with a good top of the rotation. So unless the Phillies are incredibly stupid, they will put the worst possible lineup they can on the field in the last 2 games and lose them both. You can't ask the players to tank, but the message should be clear. We need to not win these last 2 games. So I'm going to take the Astros, and I'm going to put them with Zach Gallen and the Diamondbacks. I'm going to be greedy here and try to parlay at a little short of $2, plus 200, about plus 190. Diamondbacks, Astros, money line parlay.
Little greed is good. Gordon Greco there. Hey, Dave, I got a question for you, though, because I don't disagree with how you set that up in terms of, wanting to lose and maybe it's better for the playoffs. Does that same sentiment kind of go with the team they don't want to reel in the Padres? You think the Padres should play that card as well?
Unfortunately for the Padres, they've got to hope the Phillies win. There's nothing they can do about it. Padres might lose these last two games, too. Padres might just lose them. They got to go against Carlos Rodon tonight, which isn't good. That's why I'm saying that these games matter to me for the Phillies and Padres, and both teams should be trying to lose.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about this as we're going right now because, it kind of leads into my best bet. The theory, I did this last night with some success. I'm going after these good pitchers that are going to be slated to start in the playoffs, and they're also pitching tonight, guys. And not for the teams that are getting the bye, but for the teams that are going to be playing in the wild card round, because I don't think they're going to want to get their innings too far up. And I don't think that the odds makers are really onto this. We did it last night with McKenzie on his strikeout prop to the under. I'm going to do it again tonight on Springs, the lefty going for the Rays. A good young pitcher. It's just his strikeout props at 5, and I'm pretty sure he's going to have a pitch count limit here up against the Red Sox. I mean, the Rays are already in the playoffs, so I'm going under 5 here on his strikeout prop for Springs with the Rays. And to tell you the truth, Dave, now that you're talking about it, might be able to do this with the Padres as well, and maybe even the Phillies starter. I haven't done enough research, just thinking off the top of my head. Do you like that philosophy?
I don't disagree with it. And the good news with the Padres is even if Manaea, it's actually an important start for Manaea in terms of putting himself in a position to contribute for the Padres. But he's been so bad down the stretch, he might get knocked around and be out of there after 2 innings anyway. I mean, he's been a train wreck.
Yeah. So it's almost a little bit different handicap because I'm trying to go after the guys that are doing well, pitching well, because you get that kind of extra couple strikeouts, like Springs up at 5. It's not like 3.5.
I don't think Manaea's not going to be in the Padres rotation.
Okay, so it might not matter as much.
Well, Snell's going to be in the rotation. Darvish is going to be in the rotation, and Musgrove's going to. That's their rotation. Yeah. So Manaea's a spare part anyway.
Okay. Guys, check out Brian Leonard, WagerTalk.com. He's 20-8 run in his 5% college football play. He's got one posted for Saturday kickoff in college football. Brian, what else you got going on, and where are you heading for best bets tonight?
Yeah, I used 2 plays in baseball today. You'll get one of them here for my best bet. Johnny set up a terrific deal for my hockey service. You get the first full week for the price of basically 1 day at $39. And if you're one of the first 25 to sign up, you also get 2 additional days for that. So hockey season right around the corner here, number 1 the last 5 years. I'll go back to what I used before. I used Miami, although Arizona is also a game that I think has a lot of value. Miami, I love the pitching matchup. Dave talked about the first 5 innings. That works too. I don't play as many first 5s as Dave does, but if you want to split it up, that's the way to go. Miami's a team, a lot of young players, great pitching performances this season by the Marlins. I think they continue next year, and if they get a few bats, they'll be a team to beat. But give me the Marlins tonight.
Brian Leonard, guys, check him out, WagerTalk.com. Jeffrey Springs, under 5Ks for myself in the best bet. We got Brian on the fish, plus 145, big plus price underdog. And Dave Koken, Diamondbacks and Astros, the money line parlay, plus 195 on that, at Dave Koken on Twitter. Guys, check them both out, WagerTalk.com. Brian Leonard, Dave Koken, I am Drew Martin. Again, huge shout out to the chat box. Thanks, everybody, for joining us live, and feel free to reply below. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Come back and join us here. First pitch on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Best of luck with your bets. Thanks for tuning in.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.